I'm Adam Jennings, and this is Signals, a short series about tuning in to what's already changing. It's January, and everywhere you look, there's another AI tool, another workflow, another promise that this will make you faster, better, more productive. And most of the conversations sound the same. What should I learn? What tools should I use? Am I going to get left behind? But one of the strongest signals I'm seeing right now is this. As AI becomes normal, tools matter less, and judgment matters more. Output is getting cheap, possibility is getting infinite. And in that world, the real differentiator is not who can make the most things, but who can decide what's worth making at all. One of the biggest shifts AI is driving right now is also one of the quietest. It's making output cheap. Not bad, not useless, just abundant. Things that used to take days now take minutes. Things that used to require a team can now be done by one person. And that feels incredible for a while. But abundance changes how value works. When output is cheap, volume stops being impressive. Speed stops being the differentiator. And novelty just isn't there. And in that world, the question stops being how fast can we make this and becomes, should we make this at all? And this is where taste comes back into the picture. Not as a luxury, but as a filter. Taste is what decides what gets amplified and what gets quietly killed, what gets refined and what never leaves the drafts folder. And that kind of judgment doesn't come from tools. It comes from experience, from context, from understanding people, systems, and consequences. AI can help you make more things, but right now it can't tell you which ones matter. And it's worth saying this. They don't just come from experience. They come from listening. There are signals everywhere right now, if you're paying attention. And one of the strongest is that quiet pull away from digital sameness, away from endless feeds, from fictionless subscriptions, away from interfaces that all feel the same. You can see it in the things people are choosing, devices with actual knobs and buttons, experiences you can touch and breathe and smell and feel, things that live in a physical world, not just on screen. This isn't a rejection of technology. This is a reaction to homogenization. When everything is optimized for scale, engagement, return, it all loses its texture. And people notice. And as leaders, this matters because taste isn't just about what we create. It's about what we choose not to automate, what we choose not to flatten, what we design with care because it affects real human behavior. AI will happily generate more of the same, on and on and on. Judgment is knowing when sameness is the problem. And when you put all of that together, another signal starts to emerge. Judgment is becoming scarce. And that's not because people don't care. It's not because people aren't talented, but because judgment requires things that we are designing out of systems. Time, context, the willingness to pause and decide, to say, this matters, this doesn't, this is finished, that needs more care. Those decisions don't scale neatly. They don't fit cleanly into a dashboard, and they're really hard to automate without losing something important, which is why judgment is starting to feel rare and why it's quietly becoming even more important than it's ever been. And you can see this really clearly when you're looking at everything that's happening in the agentic race. There's a lot of excitement around autonomous systems, agents that can plan, execute, decide. But inside large organizations, something really interesting is happening. The models are getting better, they're getting faster, they're getting more capable. And yet, they're not delivering the value that people expected. Not at enterprise scale, not inside real workflows. A few weeks ago, Firdaus Tangri, CEO at Fantasy Interactive, put it brilliantly. He said, clients aren't asking why the AI isn't powerful enough. They're asking why it isn't working inside their actual processes. And that shift matters because there isn't a technical problem anymore. It's operational. It's about trust. It's about workflow fit. It's about the messy reality of how people actually work. As Firdaus says, Capability does not equal value. Usefulness does. And that's where I think the next signal really is. The next phase of AI isn't about bigger models or more autonomy. It's about orchestration, cooperation, persistence, and safety inside real systems. And here's the part that doesn't get talked about anywhere near enough. Making AI useful at that scale isn't an engineering challenge. It's a leadership one, because it requires taste, an eye for craft, and empathy for the humans whose work is getting reshaped. Because inserting AI into a process without understanding how people think, decide, hesitate, trust, doesn't create value. It creates friction. So if usefulness, not capability, is the real challenge, then the most important work ahead isn't technical. It's cultural, organizational, and deeply human.